Sonic Prime just finished up with Season 3 wrapping up, and all I have to say is... I have a lot to say, actually. Season 1 started off great. I really loved the introduction to the show. The animations were beautiful. The voices did a great job overall. I really think the voices are probably one of the best parts about Sonic Prime as a whole. And the worlds in Season 1 were beautiful. You know, Green Hill and New York, another beautiful world. We got these beautiful worlds that we were exposed to for the first time in Season 1, and it was really magical seeing those for the first time in this new animation style, and it was really great. But there were some downsides to the show that you start to peek through in Season 1. For example, we only got to see the OG characters for a very short time. Now, I love these characters. I like Tails, I like Knuckles, I like Amy, I like Shadow. I like seeing these characters and seeing them in this new world and this new animation with these new voices. I really wanted to see that, but we were so quick to immediately jump to the alternate reality versions of these characters, and it is kind of a shame that we didn't really get to see more of the OG cast that we come to know and love from the games properly in this world before having to immediately can them and go do something else. Now, that's not the worst part for me. The worst part for Season 1 is where the writing starts to get kind of hairy. It really starts to drag after a while, and it starts to get a bit repetitive. We go through the same motion. Sonic goes to a new world. He sees these new alternate reality versions of his friends back home, and it just goes through the same plotline of, oh, why are you attacking me? I thought you were my friends. And he does that so many times. It's like, dude, when are you gonna get? These are not your friends. These are not the characters you come to know and love. This is not your world. Why is this a shock to you after like the 4th time? But overall, I did give my thoughts on Season 1, and in the end, I thought it was pretty harmless. I thought it was good overall. In Season 2 is where I feel like a lot of my annoyances get a little more amplified. I didn't really talk about Season 2 on this channel, but I'll go over a few of the highlights for me in Season 2. The first episode with Shadow was by far the best one, but the marketing made it sound like we're going to be getting a lot of Sonic and Shadow, kind of like a buddy cop type thing, and I was really looking forward to that. I always love Sonic and Shadow's dynamic in this show specifically. Shadow is definitely the highlight character in this show for me, but after the first episode, you barely ever get Shadow after that, and it's really a shame. The marketing made it look like we were going to get a lot more Shadow than what we actually got. The whole Pirate Knuckles not trusting Sonic, in my opinion, was just really dumb. I didn't really like a lot of the pirate, stuff during that season. It came off really annoying, especially when they didn't trust Sonic. It's like, dude, he's clearly helping you. I don't know what the problem is. The writing didn't really sell it to me. It was very annoying. 9 being in the Chaos Council's captivity led to very predictable results. I mean, they literally gave him like full access to like their computer during the whole thing, and it's like, what do you think is gonna happen? It was just very predictable results. The writing really dumbed down here, and it's like, I feel like it's almost an insult. Like, I know it's a kid's show, but don't write yourself into a corner, you know what I mean? And speaking of the Egg Council, I just gotta say, I am not a big fan of the Egg Council. I really just want one Eggman back, because at the end of the day, they're all evil. It's not like the alternate reality versions of the characters we come to know and love. These are like alternate reality versions of one character split into 5 in one thing, and it's too much. It's too much because they are all evil. Nothing is really different about them inherently outside of their little personality quirks that feel like they were just written as like a one-off joke, but the joke just keeps going and going and going. This Eggman is old. This one's a baby, and he goes blah, 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 all the time, and he's constantly hitting things. It was funny maybe for like the first season, maybe you could get away with that, but like, I really like the whole fact that there was 5 of them, and that whole personality trait just coming through every single time they're on screen, and every single time there has to be a joke about it. It did get tiring very, very quickly, in my opinion. The new super form in this season was pretty cool. I don't really have much thoughts about it, but it was cool. Kind of had a bit of a Frontiers thing going on there. And 9 takes the Paradox, prison for himself. And, I do want to say, in regards to 9's motivations and Sonic's motivation, Sonic wants to go back to the world, so he's kind of having 9 help him do that. And 9 doesn't really see the reason why he would want to do that, because I get where 9 is coming from, where, you know, if things go back to how they were, if everyone goes back home, 9's just gonna go back to being miserable in a world where he doesn't have friends. It's the world where Sonic doesn't exist for him, so he's just gonna be bullied, all this stuff. And, you know, I get the motivations there, but I mean, 9 is kind of cool as a character. You know, he's like a darker version of Tails. He's like a super badass version of Tails in some aspects, but I just don't like how selfish he is. He is very selfish. It comes through in this season. You know, he, rather than trying to use the Paradox Prism to help everyone go back home and maybe better his own world, he wants to make his own world for his own benefits. Very selfish intentions, and it becomes very annoying. And I know that's kind of the point, because 9 is the evil guy in season 3, the main antagonist, but it does get very annoying very quickly, and it's like, man, I really like this character, but now I do not. But all right, now we gotta talk about season 3, because in my opinion, this is the absolute worst the show had to offer, and I am not kidding when I say that. We'll go through it episode by episode, and we'll just talk about it as we go on. But episode 1, sticking true to pretty much every season start, the first episode was the best episode. You know, it had Sonic and Shadow. It had that duo, and I really like that duo. And I think that's when the show really shines. Not just because, you know, it's Shadow, the OG character, but it's the best writing Shadow has ever seen. And I really like their two different personalities, because Sonic in this show is not necessarily like the Sonic in the games. He's a little dumber. He's not necessarily dumb, but he is a little dumber. And when he's paired up with his bright sunshine quirks, paired up with Shadow and his very edgy, very blunt, very gray personality, it's kind of humorous and it's charming, and I really like it. But we don't get a whole lot more of it outside of episode 1. Again, I think it's that thing I was kind of hoping for in season 2, where we get a lot of Sonic and Shadow, but we just don't get a lot of that. But you know, in this episode, Sonic is still in denial, questions why 9 would do this, and it's like, really? Do you still you're really questioning why 9 would do this? You're still in denial. You don't know why he would do this. And you know, for a second in episode 1, when they were escaping from the tower after 9, like, you know, it's like making the whole place like fall apart, he sees the ghost versions of his friends. This is in Ghost Hill. And, you know, he knows they're not his real friends. We already know this. They're just on repeat saying the same thing, you know. As long as I'm around, you'll always have, you know, they just keep saying the same thing over and over. These are not your real friends, Sonic. We know they're not your real friends. You know that. I know that. We're not stupid. And for a quick second, while the world is falling apart around him, Sonic stops to try to save them, and Shadow literally looks at him and is like, are you fucking serious? Let's go. They're not your real friends. And Sonic's like, you're right. And then it's like, dude, what is this? Why is Sonic like this in this show? It's so frustrating. Like, I get Sonic would never abandon his friends, but those are not your friends, and you know that. It's just, what the hell? If he looked at his friends and was sad, like, all right, let's go, I get that. But he legit stopped in his tracks and was willing to die to save these ghost versions of his friends that are not really his friends. What are you doing, dude? But yeah, episode 1 continues. 9 needs Sonic, you know, to take over the world. He needs Sonic's power. So it's about him trying to catch Sonic. And we go into episode 2, and you get these like robot birds things chasing Sonic the whole time. And with you know, the Egg Council's help, you know, they help Sonic. Everyone goes inside of this safe dome in Egg City or Yolk City, and you know, it's fine. It's okay still. The show, it didn't really stop in its tracks yet. It is kind of dragging a bit at this point. It's like I do miss Shadow. Shadow's gone again after episode 1. He fell into a crevasse. Like Shadow's like, you got to get out of here, and shoots him off into the shatter space. But you know, everyone is safe inside the dome. And episode 3. This is, in my opinion, the episode where they just fucking nosedive, man. I'm so sorry to say it, but it starts with a horrible sprite animation, if we even call it that, of Sonic Advance 3. And you know, I'm not an animator, so I can't speak too much on it, but I will say from what I saw, that was just horrible. And what I've heard online is there's a blatant disrespect in the industry regarding TV and movies and Netflix on sprite animators. If you're going to use sprite animation, get a sprite animator to do it properly, because sprite animation is a form of art. It should be respected like any other form of art. And this was a huge slap in the face to those animators. It was just horrible. The sprites were from different games. It had advanced, it had classic, it had a bunch of things. Tails had like just looks horrible. There was like a jump arc that even I'm not an animator, but even I wanted to throw up when I saw it. Sonic's jump arc was just non-existent. It was just horrible. Gemroll was in Eggman's machine. The machine blew up and Gemroll fell apart with the machine, almost as if the animator who worked on that didn't know that Gemroll is supposed to come out of the machine and go away with Robotnik. It just felt very lazy. It looked like I animated that. I feel like I could have animated that using Adobe Premiere and using some keyframing with some sprites. It looked like I animated that, and I'm not a sprite animator. And that's how I knew that was horrible. That was horrible. Slap in the face, horrible, shouldn't have done it. And also the whole aspect of it being Advanced 3 felt very slapdash, and I'll cover this near the end about the whole show being canon to the games. This felt like a super last minute decision of like trying to prove a point, like, oh, we said it was canon to the games in the beginning, so here's this one scene that no relevance whatsoever. There was no reason to show it other than to, I guess, stick the whole, oh, it was canon the whole time, we didn't lie to you. We'll talk about it at the end. So the pirate versions of the characters just happened to not be in that safe dome, which the writing already was just like, why are they not in the safe dome? Maybe I missed something. Let me know down in the comments. Why were they not in the safe dome with everyone else? It just didn't make any sense to me. So they had to go save these pirate characters. And it was just like, so we had to essentially, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, so they needed more time for an episode. So this is where we're going. Okay, fine. So, you know, Sonic, they go save the pirate people. They come back. And at this point, Sonic has this realization, this revelation that like, this is all my fault. This is all my fault, so I need to do this alone. I need to fix this mess alone. So he gives himself up to Nine. In exchange, that Nine doesn't hurt his friends. And for some fucking reason, he trusts Nine. What? Why? What the hell are you doing? What is this writing? There's literally 0%, zero reason why Sonic should trust Nine right now, but he does. So, and literally, Nine's explanation is like, well, they could have their silly little world. I won't hurt them, but, you know, when everything's back to normal, I won't hurt them. Why do you trust him, Sonic? This Sonic pisses me off so much. I'm so sorry. But that's, again, we're not at the worst. This right here, what I'm about to talk about, is the worst part. Episode 4, Episode 5, Episode 6, and Episode 7. Quite literally, those 4 episodes could have been one episode, and they just dragged. And I'll go into it right now just to prove my point. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, right? We're watching this brand new TV show, beautiful animation, beautiful voice acting. I should be liking this, and I was just like, holy fuck, I am so tired, I am so annoyed, I am aggravated, I want it to end, and I'll go into it right now as to why, because everything up to this point has been innocent enough. I'll give Sonic episodes 1 through 3 a pass. Even though they weren't that great, I'll give them a pass. At least we were moving, we were doing things were moving. Episode 4, okay? The characters come to back up Sonic like the Avengers. It was literally Captain America, you know, on your left type moment. The characters come in, and Sonic suddenly changes his mind at that moment. Literally at the drop of a dime. You know, Nine thinks it's an attack on him. The friends come in to help Sonic attack Nine. And Sonic, what I just mentioned in episode 3, I gotta do this alone. This is my fault. I need to handle this alone. Suddenly, Sonic in this episode is saying, I can't do this alone. He can't fix this by himself. He needs his friends. what the fuck changed? Nothing changed between episode 3 and episode 4. The only thing that changed is now 9's in front of your face and you could punch it. Anyways, that's my whole thing with the writing. It was just very frustrating how much they just keep flip-flopping. They flip-flop more than a damn pancake. We get fight 1, and I'm gonna call these, I'm gonna number these, just so you know in my brain how repetitive this was. I'm gonna give you a numeric number as to how many times this happened. We get fight number 1, and it has like this forces shot with 2 sides coming together. We have Sonic's friends on one, and you have the robot army on the other. It's a forces shot, okay? And it's straight out of Forces. They even have the same poses, okay? The 2 foxes kill themselves. I don't know what to say. Literally, there was Mangy and the other fox character of Tails' alternate versions, and they like sacrifice themselves, quote unquote, for this scene, and I could not stop laughing. I was just laughing. It was just stupid. I could not believe it. It was just funny. Obviously, they didn't really kill themselves. You're going to see that in later episodes. But it's like, dude, what the hell was that? Then we get fight 2. And they kill most of the robots. You know, Sonic's friends, they're doing great. You know, almost the robots are dead. And they make a plan. This Rouge character, I think from New York, makes this plan for like 5 minutes straight, and it like goes nowhere. The plan was literally like, we'll distract them, and then they come from the side, and then we go up the middle, and it's like they talk about it for like 3 to 5 minutes, and it's like immediately, it feels like almost immediately, no, like it's just ignore what we just did. We're not sticking to anything. It's like, I feel like that whole plan sequence just went nowhere. Just nothing really happened. Then we just go to episode 5. We get fight number 3. By the way, because with fight 2, you know, they killed most of the robots, but the robots came back already in episode 4. So we get fight number 3. We get another bunch of robots regenerating, and we have this giant big robot, which, again, that's fine, that's cool, that's whatever. In this episode, you have Shadow, who was stuck in the crevasse, you know, talking about how he was stuck down here. Sonic finds him, and they just run up the wall and escape, and it's like, why couldn't you do that before? Like, again, I know there's some points where the writing has to be believable, like trying to isolate such a fast character into one space. It's really hard to give an excuse for that, but there is excuses you can write. Don't write yourself into a corner. Literally, Shadow just saying, you know, I was stuck down here fighting all these robots, and, you know, I can't get sick of, you know, fighting, you know, the robot version of Sonic all day. But immediately, he just, like, he could leave. He could run up the wall with Sonic. It's like, you couldn't do that for the past, how many episodes now, Shadow? But okay, fine enough, whatever. He escapes. Shadow's there with the group, and the plan involved some of them running straight to 9, and it surprisingly failed. It was like some of them, they got spotted by 9, and you know, that was the plan. Some of them are going to run straight up to 9. 9 saw them, and it failed. And it's like, yeah. What did you think was going to happen? The plan was, we're going to distract him here, and you guys run up the middle. And it's like, but it just, the writing, it didn't sell it to me. Then we get fight number 4. We're 2 episodes in, we're having 4 major fights with another forces shot. This is the second time we have like a forces shot. 4th fight. We're on number 4 in episode 2 of this mess, or episode 5, but 2 of this whole staying in the same area. Well, we're going to jump to episode 6 now, okay? Sonic gets a new power where he can run on air. And I think the new power is cool, looks fine, it's whatever, you know, his shoes always activate a new power in these worlds. So this world, he could kind of make his own platforms, and that's fine enough, it's fine. And at this point, all his friends are pretty much beat. You know, they're down for the count, things are looking grim, and randomly, this crazy thing happens. They just suddenly, no warning, they just get up, all his friends, and then we get fight number 5. They just start fighting again. It's like, what the fuck just happened? They literally, they were beat. They were down for the count, but nothing really changed. His friends literally just got up, and they were just able to fight again. They were just, it's just like, at this point, I was so fucking tired. I was so fatigued because now we are 3 episodes into the same setting. We have been in the same setting for 3 episodes, and this is fight number 5 of fighting the same robots, where the robots die, and then the friends come back, and then the friends beat them, then the robots die, and the robots get regenerated, and then the friends, it's just this back and forth. We're on fight 5, right? And the friends, after being down for the count, they get up, they fight, they win again. The friends win again, right? And then we get fight number 6. Fight number 6, the robots come back again, and they get beaten again. This is fight number 6, and being in the same spot for 3 episodes. I know for a fact I'm not crazy to feel this fatigued, but it gets worse. We're not done yet, because then we also get fight number 7, because he revives them again in the middle of the fight. It's just, holy shit, 7 fights. It gets worse. We have fight number 8, where the giant big robot gets revived, and we get a third Forces shot. We get the third Forces shot in this. You could tell, like, this was supposed to be 1 episode, and they're just dragging it and dragging it and dragging it. If they keep dragging it this much and stretching it this much, they're gonna fucking have dough for pasta, okay? And they're fighting more of these robots, and you know, the 2 foxes in the end were the ones controlling the big robot when it was revived. You know, they're help powering it, and it's like, at that point, it's like, how did you guys survive? And they said, oh, we flew away. Okay, fair enough. Your death still made me laugh, but fair enough. In the end, between episode 4 to episode 6, those 3 episodes, we were in the exact same spot, fighting the exact same enemies 8 times, where the heroes beat them, the whole robots get revived, the robots beat the friends get some sort of moment where they suddenly could fight again, and then it's this back and forth. I counted about 8. I was so tired. I was so insulted that they just did that to me for 3 episodes straight. And then we get to the final episode, episode 7. 9 finally stops by simply looking around and seeing the world is getting destroyed. Mind you, this has been happening for the past 4 episodes. I'm sorry, did I say 4? I meant 7 episodes the entire season. The whole world has been getting destroyed, but only now does 9 look around and be like, oh wow, what have I done? At this point, you know, 9 has the realization. Sonic starts to protect 9. Sonic's friends were trying to attack 9, so Sonic protects 9. And then Sonic decides to use his energy to fix the prism so that, you know, everyone could go back to their worlds, which I guess 9 is just okay with now, by the way. And at this moment, you know, they fix the prism. Sonic sacrifices himself by using his energy, all of his energy, to bring it back. And at this point, the Egg Council took the time to want to take over the prism for themselves, and it's just like, a fucking course they're gonna do that. They want the show to end off with them being the bad guys, not 9. So I'm like, whatever. It was very predictable, but whatever. And but nothing happens. They make a fucking metaverse joke. They make a joke about the metaverse, like they're gonna make their own universe, all this stuff, and they just end up fighting themselves, and everyone's watching. And it's like, so this was pointless. The only reason we're doing this is to literally just say, oh yeah, but these in the end are the real bad guys, not 9, before we end off the show. It was just pointless. If you're not going to do anything with it, why even do it? It was very, very, very pointless in my opinion. But whatever, I let it go. All the Eggmans, they get shot into a void from everyone. Everyone in Shadow, you know, end up helping Sonic get back home because, you know, Sonic is about to fade away. So they get him back home. And then we get Sonic's OG friends for a short bit of time. You know, he's back home. You get all the characters we come to know and love from the games. They're conversing and all that stuff, and it's great to see again, and it's so charming. But then the show ends. The show ends right at that moment. You never get to feel that feeling that Sonic feels, where he's like, finally, I get to be back home. I get to be with the people I love so much, and I can't wait for all our future adventures. But you, the viewer, are gonna see it because we spent this whole time away from them, and it's like, what the fuck? So let me just give you guys an overall of everything, because I know it was a lot that I just went through. And overall, the voices in this show are great. I love the voice acting. I think they're fantastic, and I think, You know, Devin Mack as Sonic does an amazing job. I do want to mention real quick, I know I talk a lot of crap about the characterization of Sonic and the writing. That is not on Devin Mack. Devin Mack is a great voice. He does a fantastic job. He is an A1 Sonic voice. I think he does an amazing job. He's probably the best Sonic voice I've heard in many, many years, probably since Jason Griffith, since Ryan Drummond. Great Sonic voice. Love it. And whenever I talk about the writing and everything like that, it's not about the voices. The voices in this show are great overall, and they do a fantastic job. And the animations are well done. I will say, as much as shit as I was talking about, you know, the fights and everything, how many fights there were in season 3, and how there was like nothing happening other than the same fight happening over and over against the same enemies. The fight animations were great. The choreography was great and everything like that. But the only reason why I was tired of it was the fact that we were in the same setting, using the same fight 8 times, you know. But for what the show is worth, throughout all the seasons, whenever there were fight scenes, they were well made, and they were well animated, and they were well choreographed. And I really like that part about the show. I really will give the show that. The animation, the voices, they were great. They were fantastic. And I'll give the writing one positive, is some of the character resolutions are nice and charming. You know, you had all the Amy characters in season 3, they kind of act very sisterly to each other, and I thought that was very charming. You got, you know, Pirate Knuckles, as much as I didn't like him in season 2, you know, he ends up not betraying his friends for the treasure or whatever, even though I feel like the whole point of him being like at that moment in the middle of the fight to go to the prism and try to steal it for himself, it's like, where the fuck are you gonna go after you take it? The motivations wasn't there, but in the end, it was charming enough that, you know, he had his character arc, and that's really all I could really say. You know, all the big characters, they didn't really have anything going for them. Rouge's characters, I think, were probably the most pointless. I don't remember any type of character arc with them. It really was just Amy's characters being sisterly, the Knuckles pirate, the two Tails, technically, they had their moment to shine, but there really wasn't a whole lot there with Rouge or anyone else. It was very random. And now we got to talk about Sonic. Wow. This Sonic pissed me off sometimes. It's just when someone, and I know this show is for younger kids, but younger kids also deserve good writing. And I think a testament to that is the fact that we grew up on shows that had good writing, and they stand to the test of time. So this show doesn't really have an excuse, but like a lot of times Sonic's writing would get so dumbed down where it's like, it would get so frustrating. And what makes me love Shadow as a character in the show, Shadow's character is him getting annoyed from the certain circumstance, but the circumstance is the result of the writing of the show. So Shadow as a result is my favorite character because I fucking relate to him, because like I mentioned, Shadow will just be yelling at Sonic like, Sonic, are you serious? You trying to reason with them right now? And I'm just like, yeah, Shadow, I'm right there with you. Sonic, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? That's why I like Shadow on the show, is he's relatable because he's annoyed by the writing of the show. And it's so like, but yeah, like Sonic can be very annoying in the show at times because he's just too dumbed down. And I know the Sonic we know from the games, he's a bit smarter. He has a bit more, he's a bit smarter than that. His intentions to save his friends, he does it, but he does it, I think, in a better way than Prime does. Prime is just really one-dimensional. But yeah, that's what I think about the characters. Overall, the characters aren't that bad. You know, it really just comes down to the circumstance of how they were written. But the characters we have here, Amy, all of them, they're fine. They're good. They were great. I didn't hate them. But now we got to talk about some of the extra stuff surrounding the show. One of the big things is that the whole thing about it being canon. This show is canon. I feel like this is a huge slap in the face. Like, that, literally the only reason, and there's nothing people could say to tell me otherwise, that was a marketing ploy. Telling people the show was canon was a marketing ploy. Can't deny that. That is clearly the case. This show has zero connection to any of the games, but they said it. They said it's canon, so you guys better watch it to get people like me to watch it. I was gonna watch it anyways, by the way, but sure. By saying it's canon, you're gonna try to get a lot of hardcore fans like me to watch it. We watched the show. No, it's not. It's not canon. It's a marketing ploy. Let's stop pretending. Even in the end, the show does a Sonic 06 and erases itself from existence, from like really happening, anything really happening from that. So yeah, sure, it's canon, but nothing happens. So by you saying it was canon in the first place was pointless other than a marketing ploy. And yeah, the whole thing with Advanced 3 being shoved in there was just like, it's pointless. There was no reason for that. You could have called back to any other time period. It chose Advanced 3 because, again, you're trying to pone in the whole, we didn't lie to you. It wasn't misadvertising. It was misadvertising. It was literally marketing. Just say it wasn't canon. None of us would care. Would any of you guys care if the show was not canon? Sonic X isn't canon. We don't care. Sonic Boom isn't canon. Sonic Sad AM isn't canon. And I love Sad AM in the universe and all that stuff. It doesn't need to be canon. Just stop. And in the end, the whole show just could have been shorter. The biggest flaw the writing has with the show is the dragging. It will drag things out to meet a certain mark, and that's where it gets really annoying. It did not need to drag out as long as it did. If the show was probably 12 episodes or so, rather than, I think it was like, 24? It did not need to be as long as it was. If it was shorter, like if those 4 episodes I mentioned that were tedious as fuck in season 3, if they were just 1 episode, it would have been a great fucking episode. It would have been fantastic. But because it was 4, it just dragged, and I hate it. The show slammed on the brakes for me, and I don't know how I can recommend it other than to very, very young kids who probably wouldn't pick up on that. In the end, is it a fine show? Yes, it's fine. It's decent. It's decent. It's not bad. It's not a bad show at all. And for a kid show, there's a lot worse out there. But this is great. It has great animations, great voice acting. There is quality to it. It's just the writing. The writers, I feel like, were just on autopilot the whole time when writing this show, and it just didn't do it any favors. And in the end, I just wish we had more Shadow and more of just the OG cast in general. The whole show's premise is, here's Sonic's world that you come to know and love, and then we're gonna escape it. It's the same problem I kind of had with the Sonic movies, where it's like, oh, Sonic's world is so beautiful. I love it. Let's stay there. Nope, never mind. We're going to go over here to do something completely different. It's fine to do stuff that's different, and this show's a good example of doing something different, but that different could have probably been like a special or an episode, or maybe even just a season. I love Sonic's OG friends. I love them too much for them to kind of be shafted in this whole show to not get their time to shine. They were just stuck in flashbacks. They were stuck in the first episode only with the same scenes replaying over and over in tandem, and the picnic shot that Amy kept doing with the fucking pine tree in the background, and she's literally doing the same shot over and over. I love these characters so much, and it hurts me that they will never get their chance to shine in this new show for Sonic the Hedgehog with new animation, new voices. I wish they had more time to shine. And if there is more Sonic Prime in the future, which I don't think there is at all, I think there's zero plans for that, can we just stay there? I'm not saying stay in Green Hill. No, hell no. We could go to different areas, but can we stick with the cast we come to know and love? Because that's where the show shines, and that's what I like. I don't like the Egg Council. I think the other alternate versions of the characters are kind of pointless, all things considered. The reason why I like Shadow is because it's the best writing he's seen, because he's also the original character. I just want the OG cast, and I would like to put them in cool new situations rather than taking Sonic out of that equation and putting him in a new situation and everyone is just stuck. It's like Sonic's friends deserve better. They can work well in a show. They just didn't get their chance to shine here, and that's really unfortunate. And in the end, when it comes to Sonic media in general, I just hope that if we get another Sonic show, that it kind of, the 3D animation was great, but I think I'm a little tired of it after Boom and this now. I would like to see a 2D animated show next. I would like to see more of an anime show. I would like them to go back to more of that shonen route, because that's where Sonic shines. The reason why I believe Sonic Frontiers did so well because of those Titan fights is because that's when Sonic Frontiers goes straight out all shonen. That is the most anime you could get. I love it. And that's where Sonic shines. Just stick to that. Let's go back to that. Not saying stick to that, but let's go back to that. Let's give it another try. Let's give another Sonic X type thing a try here, because we know those 2D animations do well with Sonic. Look at those shorts on YouTube, whether it be Mania Adventures, whether it be Team Sonic Racing Overdrive, or whether it be any of the shorts for Sonic Origins or Sonic Superstars. Sonic 2D animations do very, very well. And I'm surprised, given the number that those numbers make on YouTube. I think Sonic Mania Adventures has well over 100 million views total, at least in that one. There's like one part where they took all of them together, and that one has like over 100 million views. Any TV show, you bring that to them and say, hey, this is our pilot, anyone would take that. I'm not saying it has to be exactly like Many Adventures. It could have voice acting and it could be more shonen-like, but 2D animated Sonic, I think, is best Sonic, and I would like to see that going forward. But yeah, with all that said, that's my thoughts on Sonic Prime. In the end, it was okay. It wasn't bad, but the writing did not do it any favors, and season 3 fucking dragged, and I never ever want to go through it again. Let me know down below what you guys think about Sonic Prime. What do you guys agree with me? If you disagree, that's totally fine. Let me know down in the comments what you guys liked. If I missed anything, let me know as well. And regarding the future of Sonic, regarding TV shows, let me know what you guys want to see. Would you guys like to see something like Sonic X? Would you guys like to see something like, I know, the Riders opening, an animation like that? Let me know down below what you guys want to see. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. For all things Sonic, stay close to the channel. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys very soon. See you later, procrastinators.